I think those of you who read the title might agree with it, but in my opinion, it is not so. I put the title in on purpose because I wanted to address it in this video. You see, I don't think Boba Fett is being soft. I think with old age comes grace, and that's what we're gonna discuss in this video in detail. And after my opinion that I will share here with you guys of what I've seen from these 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, we're gonna come back to a story that happens after Empire Strikes Back between Jabba and Boba Fett, and how Boba Fett basically threatens Jabba and in an instant would have taken over, similar to how he did with Bib Fortuna. In my opinion, the main reason why Boba Fett now is soft-spoken and more taken aback, patient dare I say, is mainly because of the Tusken Raider tribe. Having almost lost his life inside the Sarlacc, I think that's where it started. Once he was out, you could see that his struggle to be alive was evident. It was very symbolic in a way because immediately after escaping the Sarlacc, he was stripped of everything he had ever owned. Everything he held valuable, as was his father's armor. The Jawas stole it, took it from him, and left him symbolically naked. It wasn't until the Tusken Raiders came in and eventually ingratiated him into their own tribe, showed him what true honor really is, that Boba started to change his identity, his thought process. From the first 2 episodes especially, you realize that Boba understands now the wrongful nature of his ways back in the day. This is evident from his grimace, from the facial expressions he gives out when he sees the Rider gang stealing water from the locals. You could see the pain in his face. This is where I think the thought process started within him, to say, was I this guy? Harming other people senselessly and for basically no reason, just for credits. You see, Boba Fett has taken a step back, so much so that he even tells his buddy Black Krrsantan to not work for scoundrels anymore once he releases him in episode 3. So you could kind of understand his mind, where he is spiritually and emotionally at this moment. It's not that he is not ruthless still, he just doesn't want to be that guy. What guy? Well, let's share a quick story in the comics that released recently about Boba Fett taking Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt and how that transaction went on. We can reminisce about the old days of Boba Fett being tough as nails and also understand how it came to this. While everybody was fighting, Boba Fett was sneakingly coming in. Inside Slave 1, Boba is together with Valance, who has joined Boba for this joint mission to get Han Solo, although he doesn't trust him completely yet, and that's of course very justifiable, as Boba Fett looks out for his own, and now Valance is even more afraid, since the Imperials have figured out how to free the shuttle from the Hutts, and now Vader's shuttle is making its way to the Super Star Destroyer Executor. Valance was panicking, but for Boba, there was always an option. While Vader's shuttle was retrieved from the Hutts, Piet, in the midst of battle, received a distress code from Boba Fett trying to get inside the Executor. Piet simply wrote this off as one of Vader's machinations, since Vader in Empire Strikes Back was seen boarding these bounty hunters to in fact recruit them for his own mission. Knowing this, Piet simply let Boba Fett board the Executor, not knowing what Boba was up to. Valance could not believe it, but Boba told him there's always a way. But getting on that ship was easy. Finding Solo and getting him back out, that'll be the trick, so stay sharp. I hate that I have to trust you, says Valance. We still have the same goal. We both want Solo off that ship. That makes it simple. You don't have to like it, Valance. You just have to do it. As without a sweat, Boba Fett simply enters the Executor. The worst part is now Leia, Chewie, and Lando had to find a way to get aboard the Executor as well, which was almost impossible, seeing that they're not bounty hunters like Boba Fett, they do not have the access codes, and they can practically be identified as rebels. In fact, the sheer fact that they were not blown to smithereens is because the Empire was occupied with the Hutts at this moment. Boba and Valance simply land and walk past everybody who is trying to get to their TIE fighters to fight the Hutts. Valance still could not believe it. On their journey, a K2 droid walks behind them, grabs Boba Fett, and just before he is about to snap Boba's neck, it is Valance who saves the life of Boba. And in return, of course, the treacherous Boba Fett tells him that his services are no longer required. The time has come for him to walk alone. He throws a thermal grenade at him, blows him to smithereens, and it is sad to see the conclusion to Valance, or what I think is the conclusion. I'm sure he will heal up, but as of right now, Valance is left shredded to tiny parts as Boba is now on his way to finally get his ultimate prize. Leia's chances seemed completely abysmal until it is Kira who comes to the rescue. Once she contacts the Millennium Falcon and Lando, now Lando knows that they can count on her. When Leia asks why, well, Lando now has to explain that the thing is, back in the day, she and Han, they were what? Says Leia. She is baffled to learn that Han and Kira, back in the day when they were young, they were lovers. They were destined to be together until they were not. With the help of Kira, the Millennium Falcon boards the Executor. Leia is baffled. You're an Imperial officer. Why are you helping us? Await the dawn, says the officer, telling us at this moment that Crimson Dawn has infiltrated basically every single faction they could, even the Empire. Now Leia and the gang have infiltrated Han's holdout, and they go to shoot their way in. This is our moment, says Leia. This is our time. May the Force be with us. In a miraculous way, they go on to shoot their way inside and blast everybody down. I don't believe it, says Leia. You're really here. I almost gave up hope, Han. I'm so sorry. While Lando is trying to free Han, there's a voice behind them. No, you won't. As a rocket is approaching exactly that sector, it seems crimson and red, so you might be aware of where it's coming from the Crimson Dawn, but now Boba takes over. Get away from my property, says Boba to Leia and Chewie. But before anybody could touch Han, the projectile hits the side of the Executor, erupts, and gets an opening to Han's chambers. Everybody's down. Leia is panicking as the block is sliding outside. Leia yells out Han as she reaches out with her hand, but it is too late. Han's body is now floating outside. Lando is trying to hold Leia back, but Boba Fett was not going to quit. Using his jetpack, he goes outside, searching for Han's body, and finally he gets it. He uses his grappling hook to catch him, and while the heavy carbonite frozen body does make a splash inside the ocean, Han is finally pulled out by the mighty Boba Fett, who not only got him, but now goes for the Hutt who had put a bounty on his head. After all it was said and done, Boba went straight for Tatooine, the palace of Jabba the Hutt. I never doubted you, Boba Fett, says Jabba. You always finish the job. Thank you for bringing me this wonderful prize. It looks like it wasn't easy. How many people did you have to kill to get Solo back? Enough. You put a bounty on me, Jabba. I've already cancelled the contract, says Jabba. You understand, Boba. The galaxy knew I had first claim on Solo. I needed it known that defying me brings consequences. It was not personal. It never is, says Boba. Wasn't sure if I'd be able to collect from you. After your people attacked the Imperials on Jakara, figured they'd be after you next. No, the Hutt Council acted alone, says Jabba. I have no idea why they did such a foolish thing, but they paid the price. Just like me, Palpatine takes the long view. I'll be fine. Now Boba has simple words for Jabba. The Hutt's thing is personal. Let's get back to business. I brought you Han Solo. I can take him back. If you want to keep him, says Boba, pay me. This is the final word from Boba Fett, and we know that Jabba does not want to break that good faith between Boba and Jabba that is still remaining. It is slim, but it is still there. We again see that Boba is to his word. When he goes for something, he goes for the jugular, and he does not quit until he finishes his job. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.